Some women walk into a room and the air goes quiet, not because they're loud, but because they were not looking for anything there. If you pause for 10 seconds and listen to your body, you can feel it, a kind of invisible order. Love finds them the way birds find water. No pleading, no bargaining, no performance. They simply are clear as a horizon line. Why? Because their signal isn't choose me, it's I already chose myself. Jung would say the persona steps off the stage, the shadow gets a light, and the deeper center, the self begins to conduct from within. Have you ever tasted that quiet right in the middle of a date, a laugh, or a buzzing thread of texts? We grew up in a culture of checklists and the other half. The more boxes we tick, the more exhausted we feel. The harder we try, the more our heart turns into a stage bright lights. No backstage. Maybe you've asked, what am I still missing? Jung would invite a different question. What part of me have I pushed into the basement, and how is it still trying to run the show from down there? Downstairs is the shadow anger. You never voiced desires you were told aren't refined courage, mislabeled as selfishness. Upstairs is the persona, the version of you that gets applause. Between them is a thin sheet of ice so thin a single honest moment can crack it. What if anything is knocking under your floorboards right now? If you're curious, good. Curiosity is the first flashlight in the house of the psyche. Here's something simple. When a woman stops chasing validation, her nervous system changes rhythm. Her body no longer broadcasts scarcity. That biological safety is the signal other people's intuition reads long before words. Attraction stops being a performance and becomes a climate. And a climate doesn't need to be performed, it needs to be lived. Where in your life are you broadcasting shortage, and what would shift if your body could finally exhale? So how do you move from a noisy stage to a steady climate? This isn't social technique, and it's not manipulation. It's a return, noticing the roles, naming the knots, and making a new pact with your inner masculine, your animus, so it protects your boundaries instead of judging your soul. Then love stops being a prize for the perfect and becomes the byproduct of an ecosystem that's finally in balance. You don't trade for love, you make room for it to land. What boundary would feel protective without hardening your heart? If any of this presses on a tender spot, try a tiny experiment tonight. When the lights go out, don't ask, who will love me? Ask, am I on my own side? The answer won't shout, it will whisper. But whispers move the world. And if a part of you resists, wants to stay busy, wants to stay right, know this resistance is the front door to the new house. No one crosses a threshold without hearing the hinges. You're about to see a map that doesn't sell you a dream. It hands you back the capacity to read your dreams. We'll keep it practical, no heavy theory, just a 4-stop journey you can feel in your body. Unmask the persona, notice where you perform acceptable instead of living authentic. Speak with the shadow, give voice to what you exiled so it doesn't have to hijack your life. Make a pact with the animus. Let your inner masculine hold clean lines and keep you safe, not small. Pour stillness back into the body. Turn calm into a living magnet. So your presence, not your pitch, does the work. When these 4 click into place, the question, how do I become attractive, falls from your hand like a dry leaf. You won't need it anymore. So let's start where the real change begins. Why returning to your true self isn't self-improvement at all. It's melting the ice so the city under the surface can breathe. If you're ready, walk with me. We'll turn on the light. Descent, not ascent, how returning to your true self changes love. Coming home to your true self isn't a climb, it's a descent. Picture your inner life as a classic American house white porch, bright living room, where you greet people with polished smiles and, I'm fine. That's the persona, the social coat that helps you belong. But behind the stairwell is the dusty attic boxes with no labels stacked to the rafters, anger you were told is impolite desire, mislabeled, selfish fear, mistaken for weakness. Jung called that room the shadow. Individuation, becoming who you really are, begins when you turn the key, crack the door, and let light touch the dust. No trumpets, just a hush where you finally hear your own voice from far away. Why does this matter for love? Because we don't love from intention, we love from state. When we're in scarcity, the body broadcasts SOS scanning, eyes second-guessing words, a heart racing like it's late to the date. People feel that frequency before they know your name. Then the old tragedy unfolds. We choose and get chosen not for truth, but for unconscious puzzle pieces trying to fix old wounds. As Jung warned, when an inner situation isn't made conscious, it plays out outside as fate. If silence once meant abandonment, a slow text today can crack the panic valve. If your house prays only good behavior, you'll default to loving like a compliance test. But you can't hold a real partner while clinging to a ruler. So how do you put the ruler down gently without shattering? Try 3 small movements tonight. Not social tricks, not how to win, but inner steps you can actually do. Change the question. Not how do I make them see me, but which part of me wants me to see it first? Hand to heart. Breathe in or 4 out, 6-10 rounds. As the breath slows, your nervous system lands. Only then can you hear the shadow's voice. 10 minutes of two-way writing. Write the part I rarely show says, switch pens, let that part answer. Don't pretty it up. Don't edit, just let it speak. Sign a 1-day pact with your animus, your inner protector. Today I'll say 1 honest sentence and take responsibility kindly. You don't need perfection. You need 1 small, consistent truth. You might be afraid of being called too much, of losing the easygoing girl image, of someone leaving once you stop over-pleasing. Remember, departures don't remove your worth. They remove the illusion that you must trade your nature to stay. The first honest sentence will sweat your palms, then your shoulders drop like setting down a heavy pack. That lightness is the real magnet. No performance can fake safety. Near someone who's on her own side, our bodies, not our minds, exhale. Love, an ecological event between 2 inner worlds, only roots in climates like that. What waits down there once you open the attic? Often dreams. Treat them like mail from the unconscious. No need for heavy theory. Upon waking, write the first 3 images you remember, circle the strongest feeling, and ask, what's the compensating message? If you perform polished all day, you might dream of a messy kitchen and a simple dish. Life doesn't only count when staged. If you fear deep water, you might see an ink-dark sea, an invitation to let feelings drop so they stop bubbling in the dark. These aren't superstitions. They're the psyche's safety schematics, helping you stop spackling the crack and start reinforcing the foundation. Don't confuse stillness with shutdown. Stillness has a spine, collapses numb. Stillness signs deeper breath, warm eyes, fewer words that say more. Shutdown signs automatic. It's fine, glassy stare, a spine that's lost its natural curve. If you're frozen, skip the self-judgment. Stand. Pour water. Feel the cool glass in your palm. Walk slowly to the window and name 3 colors: green leaves, blue, sky gray roofs, then return to the conversation. You just told your body we're safe. When the body believes that, the heart opens. You'll also spot family complexes quietly routing your choices. A father complex can make distance feel like power, so you chase coldness like a magnet. A mother complex can recruit you into unpaid caretaking like an invisible contract. Try a tiny experiment. When someone delays a reply, instead of turning up your volume, turn it down. Respond slower, clearer, with a boundary. Consistency matters to me. If that doesn't fit, let's end it here. That's not a slammed door, it's an open window. Fresh air comes in, smoke goes out. So what's the bridge from all this to love? The quality of choosing. When persona stops hogging the mic, shadow gets a name, and the animus shifts from judge to bodyguard, you stop picking situations to repair the past. You start choosing people to build the present. You don't hunt reactions. You observe them and draw conclusions. You don't force cool girl. You become a woman who can be warm and walk away. The love that follows isn't a trophy for correct behavior. It's the byproduct of a climate hospitable to life, sun enough, water enough, wind enough. That enough is rare and magnetic in a time of overcompensation. If this touched you, step into our little circle each week. We put the armor down, share a dream. Write 1 honest line and practice standing for ourselves without wounding anyone. Drop A in the comments as a quiet pledge. I'm on my way home. Say no more. The circle will recognize you by the quality of your quiet. Next, we'll cross harder thresholds, the fear of losing yourself, the shadow's rebellion, and that in-between valley where you're no longer who you were and not yet who you're becoming. I'll hand you a map to move through without dropping your kindness. Bring the smallest flashlight, curiosity, and let's keep walking. 3 thresholds: fear, shadow, and the quiet in between. Every true homecoming passes 3 thresholds: the fear of losing yourself, the uprising of the shadow, and the quiet space between 2 shores. If part one was turning the attic key, part two is walking down the stairs, hands still shaking, eyes adjusting to the dim. Jung would say this isn't a path of hacks. It's a meeting of consciousness and the unconscious, where the roles that once protected you no longer fit. Threshold one, the fear of losing myself. What you're afraid of losing isn't your essence, it's the old you. A persona that kept you safe and got praise for being easy, capable, reliable. Psychologically, that fear is a kind of grief, a eulogy for a role. Try a simple write a gentle obituary for your always fine self. Thank it for carrying you through unsafe years. Fold the paper, place it in a small box, and light a candle. Not for drama, for your nervous system. You're telling your body, this is intentional. You're not losing yourself, you're giving yourself oxygen. To give this ending a spine, write a few permission slips. I give myself permission not to reply immediately. I give myself permission to say no without over-explaining. These tiny permissions are the foundation of a new house. Threshold two, the shadow rises. When you stop putting makeup on the soul, what you push down will rise. Some days anger strikes like lightning. Some nights dreams arrive as sealed letters written in water and fire. Don't panic. Remember the panic loop. Blame, beg, bolt. Blame, plead, run are the unconscious shortcuts when we're scared. If you catch yourself entering one stop at the crossroads and do ABC, acknowledge with one honest line, I'm afraid of being left. Breath in 4, out 6 for about 90 seconds. Choose one protective, non-destructive act. Set a boundary, step away to reset your rhythm. It may feel awkward to name feelings out loud. Your brain needs to hear you say them to stop blaring the alarm. After a few waves, the shadow shifts from stranger to blunt ally, tough but useful. Dreams are your night map, Eva 36. In Brooklyn, kept dreaming she was sprinting through hospital corridors, dropping files and never finding the exit. By day, she put out fires at work and in love. By night, the unconscious screened the same film in symbols. After a week of writing down 3 images each morning, she noticed a pattern: long halls, cold fluorescent lights, papers falling from her hands. She wrote one compensating sentence: I need to stop carrying other people's paperwork. That day, she sent a boundary text. This topic needs clarity. Without it, I'm pausing. No miracle, just this: that night, the dream corridor felt brighter and her hands were empty, allowed to let go. Threshold 3, the quiet in between. In Jung's alchemical language, this is negredo, the dark season of the soul when nothing seems to click. You're not who you were and not yet who you're becoming. Old bonds loosen, new habits aren't reflexes yet. Many turn back here because the emptiness feels too wide. Instead, build a temenos, a small, private, sacred space to shelter in a corner with a candle, a warm mug, a notebook, and a line on a card. Nothing is exiled. Each night for 3 minutes, draw a simple circle. A modest mandala is enough. On the left, write one thing you released today. On the right, one thing you're keeping. In the center, one thing you're learning. That poor little map gives your brain a sense of structure amid fog, like checking GPS in the mist. To stay oriented, add 3 stabilizers. Sleep on time so dreams can work. Eat on time so the body can trust you. Move lightly so energy doesn't freeze. This isn't pep talk. It's micro-architecture for a soul under renovation. Expect system pushback. Every system prefers its old balance. When you stop being always fine, someone will tease a little too hard. When you set a boundary, someone will treat it like a dare. Prepare 3 warm, firm line. I hear you. What I need is, I don't do that, but I can. If this doesn't fit, I'll pause here. These aren't rigid rules. They're a chair back so you don't fall while you learn to stand tall. And yes, some people will leave. That's part of the rite of passage, not a failure. Love that stays with you doesn't require you to defeat anyone. It requires a house with a solid foundation. A gentle honesty check. Am I going deep enough, or am I avoiding old pain with pretty language? If practices stir trauma, memories stop, breathe slowly, and bring in a qualified professional. Jung didn't call us to self-dissection. He asked us to build a seaworthy boat before we sail. Courage isn't a single heroic leap. It's 1,000 small steps with handrails. How you'll know the thresholds or landing quiet signs. No arrives before guilt. You need less for others to get it. You're focused on you understanding you. Conversations get shorter and richer. Less performance, more presence. These are roots. Roots grow in silence long before the branches appear. If you stay patient, your inner climate will change seasons, and that climate, not social tactics, is what draws the right people naturally. From here, the next question is obvious. What are the measurable signs you're actually maturing emotionally? Less self-affirmation, more live evidence. In part 3, we'll gather 3 core markers: loving from sufficiency, dropping the other half myth, and learning to sit in the chair of the self between your inner archetypes, plus small behavioral indicators you can track so you know you're not performing anymore. You're living. Live evidence, you're emotionally maturing. This is where we gather live evidence, not pep talk or slogans, but tiny observable shifts in everyday life. Sign number 1, you love from sufficiency. Your heart stops running silent bargains. I'll be compliant. You'll make me feel enough. Instead, you show up like a garden with its own groundwater. You welcome sun when you need shade, and you don't beg the sky for rain. In the body, this sounds like breath that stays steady during hard conversations. The pause between texts no longer blares like a siren. In behavior, you stop firing flare guns at test people. You let their consistency reveal itself and make choices from data, not old scripts. A quiet Friday in your Portland kitchen kettle murmuring, you type one clean line: I need clarity. Without it, I'll stop here. The words aren't sharp, they have a spine. Your palms still sweat, but inside there's the hush of a lake that knows it holds enough water. Sign number 2. You retire the other half myth. Culture sells puzzle pieces. Jung invites a circle, a simple whole mandala. You stop grading others on how well they plug your gaps and ask the blunt question, beside this person, do I remain myself? That's not romantic fluff, it's a safety check. Driving the Pacific Coast Highway, you pull over salt and seaweed in the air and say aloud, I don't need anyone's permission to breathe deeply. Choices change after that, less about lightning bolt chemistry, more about shared ecology, response times, kept promises, real apologies, room for silence. When the other's faraway look used to trigger, I'm being abandoned, and now it reads as they're tired today. You feel free to ask to slow down or to leave without betraying yourself. Sign number 3, the deepest. You sit in the chair at the center of your inner archetypes. Jung said each of us is a quiet parliament, the mother who nourishes the queen, who sets law, the warrior who protects the muse, who inspires the wild child who wants to roam. When we're unseasoned, one delegate grabs the mic. As you mature, you chair the meeting. Each voice speaks, you listen, then you decide. Monday morning before email. The wild child says, I want to play. The queen replies, play 30 minutes. The warrior adds, draft sent at 11, 60 seconds, and your day isn't an inner tug of war. Make this concrete with a tiny meeting board. 3 columns. Who's speaking? What do they need? What's my decision? When feelings swell like surf, that board is your anchor. A short story, meet Noor, 31, in Minneapolis. She used to love like a paramedic anyone hurting she patched. 3 months of chairing, later she notices her muse is overworked and her warrior is missing. She signs a 1-day contract with her animus inner protector. Today, I'll say one no without apologizing for my existence. At lunch, a teammate asks her to stay late to polish the deck. Noor replies, I don't work after 8. I can help tomorrow morning. Short, no drama. That night, her dream changes from cold corridors to a warm library where she places a book on the right shelf. End of a small chapter, her inner council is taking their seats. Won't this make me look cold? Usually the opposite. Sufficiency softens you. Less suppression, fewer performances, no casting others in forced roles. Warmth returns because you no longer stand guard at your door all day. The right people recognize it, your shoreline in water-clear boundaries, not barbed wire. With you at the chair, the wild child gets to laugh loud, the muse can leave work unfinished. The queen can apologize when she over-tightens. The warrior draws the sword only when needed. This isn't a perfect script. It's a city learning to govern itself. Love grows best in a city like that, where every citizen is registered and no one is exiled. Make the 3 signs a habit with 3 daily checkpoints. Morning 60-second chair jot. Who's talking? What do they need? What's my decision? Afternoon kind boundary. 1 warm line to someone or to your calendar. Evening dream log. Record. 3 images. No analysis needed. You're telling the unconscious, I'm listening. Miss a day. Fine. Maturity isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You pass the same landmark at a higher level. Community circle. Each week we host a chair session. Drop A in one line. This week I'll chair in the situation of question. We'll hold space, no judgment, so you can practice among people learning the same thing. From here, a natural question opens. If love is the result of a tuned inner ecology, not a prize for performance, how does that play out in dating and long-term bonds? Next, we'll move straight into love as consequence, not reward. Why ecology outruns chemistry, how to lower projection, shift attachment towards security, and why gentle boundaries, not tactics, create lasting gravity. Ready, hand to heart. One slow breath, and let's step into the next chapter where love stops being a stage and becomes a climate. Love is consequence, not reward. Love isn't a prize for doing it right. It's the natural consequence of an inner climate that has changed seasons. When your body stops broadcasting scarcity, people feel safe with you before you say a word. Jung would call this a deep reordering from a recycled unconscious script to a new inner governance where the self conducts. Picture love like a garden. Chemistry is a thunderstorm. Dramatic, intoxicating, easy to mistake for fate. Ecology is groundwater, steady, root-feeding, season-proof. No roots. A storm just erodes the soil. Strong roots, rain or not, the tree stands. Why your inner climate creates outer gravity. Our bodies read one another by safety cues, breathing eyes, pacing of speech, comfort with silence. If you walk into a date chasing a certificate of good enough, your nervous system blares SOS. If you arrive as someone who has already chosen herself, your body signals, I've landed. People don't need your philosophy. They trust your heart rhythm. That rhythm gets tuned by small, consistent acts, setting boundaries without apologizing to yourself, letting dreams speak and taking the chair at your inner council each morning so every part has its turn. Love seeks climate. It leaves rooms with only fireworks. 3 deep shifts from storm to groundwater. 1. Projection. Discernment. Before you see a quiet person and project strong like dad dragging old history onto a new table. After you separate person from screen, he's quiet today. I don't know why. I can ask, I can wait. I can leave. Unromantic. Maybe it saves you from old theater. 2. Seeking certification. Living your values. You stop performing the right script to be chosen. You live by your values even if the cost is losing a date. 3. Urgency. Pacing urgency hid fear. Pacing is safety. Let the tempo follow real energy, not the fear of being forgotten. Sarah's story. Denver 33, Sarah was great at chemistry. Sparkling eyes, easy warmth. 3 relationships trace the same curve. Week 1, blazing week 3. Offbeat week 6, done. She began an ecology journal. Tiny change after a great conversation. She stopped saying, let's meet tonight, and left 48 hours for both lives to speak it honestly. In that space, she checked her body. Is my chest calm? Is my breath deep? Does my day leave room for me? When he went silent for 36 hours, she sent a backbone line. Consistency matters to me. If your schedule can't hold that, I'll stop here. This time he didn't vanish. He apologized and proposed a steady rhythm. Not a fairy tale, just an ecosystem reordering itself. 3 months later, Sierra wrote, less spark, more calm. And the calm is the bell. Love isn't mute, it hums like a solid house. Gentle boundaries grow love. If you fear boundaries will make you less attractive. Remember, without banks, a river becomes a swamp. With concrete walls, it's a culvert. Gentle boundaries, few words clear, consistent act like a soft embankment. They keep the water while letting it move. Boundaries also apply to you. I don't reread texts more than twice. I don't wreck my sleep for someone inconsistent. I don't prove worth by instant replies. These tiny covenants carve inner channels. Once the channel is clear, rain and heat both flow. Attachment shifts when the body warms. Breath rest and truth can nudge attachment toward secure, less pursuing, anxious, less vanishing, avoidant, more capacity to stay without freezing. 3 small indicators. You can sit through 30 seconds of silence without rescuing with a joke. You ask clearly for what you want. You let the bond grow at a 2-person pace, not a solo sprint. Beware the trap of strategic stillness. Performing calm to be mysterious feeds the game, not safety. True stillness isn't a tactic. It's what remains when you stay with a feeling long enough for the wave to pass without flooding the house. If you catch yourself acting serene, pause 30 seconds. Name the real feeling, choose one kind action. You don't need mystery, you need tender honesty. Safety note, if this touches old wounds, pause, breathe slowly, and seek professional support. Maturity isn't isolation, it's knowing when to reach for a hand. 7-day practice, turn ecology into habit. Each night job. 3 ecology observations. Response cadence, quality of time together, how you two handle friction. 1 small action to protect groundwater and tomorrow, sleep on time. 1. Clear sentence, decline an overpacked plan. After a week, you'll see a new curve, fewer short spikes, more steady warmth. Community circle, finish this in the comments. In the next 7 days, I'll tend my groundwater by. Share 1 boundary you voiced, 1 silence you sat with, or 1 dream you wrote down. We'll hold the space, no judgment. Next, stillness as a magnetic field. If your climate has shifted and love becomes consequence, what kind of quiet actually makes you magnetic? Not for a game, but for safety. In the next chapter, how the body broadcasts safety, how to tell stillness from freeze, and 3 3-minute rituals to grow a calm with a spine right in the middle of a busy life. Hand on heart, feel the floor, let the inner weather settle. We'll step through together. Stillness as a magnetic field. Stillness isn't performing calm. It's what naturally appears when your inner world is back in order. When your body stops broadcasting SOS, people feel safe with you before you say a word. Jung would call this the moment the self conducts, not loudly, not with commands, just a quiet hand, and the whole system finds its rhythm. True stillness, cold silence. Stillness is full presence, deeper breath, warm eyes, fewer words that land. Cold silence is shut down feelings, unplugged. Lifeless face, polite, finest used to escape. A woman with emotional maturity doesn't act still. She becomes a place where stillness can live. Imagine your next date like a softly lit room. You're not hunting for the right line. What lands is how you sit, feet on the floor, shoulders loose, breath in the belly, unhurried pace. Your body says it's safe here. You don't crack a joke to rescue silence. You let silence prove neither of you needs emergency care. You don't scan their face before telling the truth. You let your truth arrive on time enough, unforced. Paradox, the moment you stop trying to be magnetic, a quiet gravity appears. It isn't a trick, it's climate. The right people recognize it and stay. The game players get bored, there's no fuel here. How do you grow stillness in a busy American life of deadlines, group chats, freeways, and meetings? Use the 3-minute anchors anywhere, anytime. Breath anchor, hand on chest and belly, inhale, 4 exhale, 6 for 10 rounds. Vagus nerve says land speech slows, listening opens. Gaze anchor, rest your eyes on 1 steady point, wood grain, a tree water, and slowly name 3 shades you see. Your eyes stop hunting for threat. The inner noise quiets. Naming anchor, 1 short judgment-free line, I feel nervous. I'm hopeful, I need to slow down. Naming drains panic. With panic down, truth can speak. Those 180 seconds change your broadcast frequency. Stillness also shows in how you ride the waves. If someone goes quiet for 36 hours, don't flip to rescue mode. Rapid texts, nervous jokes, self-shrinking. Come back to 3 questions. What's real? No reply yet. What do I feel? Fear of being left. What's the kindest action for me now? Maybe a warm, firm line. Consistency matters to me. If your schedule can't hold that, I'll stop here. Maybe no message, just a hot shower and sleep so dreams can work. Stillness doesn't deny hurt. It puts hurt where it belongs so you can be kind to yourself while you wait for data. Waiting with a spine is what creates durable safety. A subtle correction, mystery attraction. Mystery can hook curiosity. It doesn't build safety. The mysterious person withholds to control. The still person keeps distance when needed to keep truth. Mystery makes people guess. Stillness lets people speak plainly. Try a tiny experiment in your next conversation. Skip the coy bait. Offer 1 small, tender truth that isn't oversharing. I move slower with new people, then stop. If they fear silence, they'll fill it with jokes. If they have roots, they'll nod and adjust. That voluntary adjustment is gold, worth more than any promise. Stillness is in how you leave too. A panicked heart leaves by punishing or ghosting. A steady heart leaves with a clear on-time line. That's not being cool. It's protecting your inner climate so there's soil for the next season. Jung would nod. There is no lasting conjunction union of opposites if one side keeps trading essence to keep the other from leaving. You don't need to stay at any cost. You need to stay with yourself first. From there, if it's love, it will find the door. A small story, Merta Basfaram 32. A Chicago teacher could light every party, but dating always hit the same short heat. Misfire, blame. She practiced the 3 anchors daily for 2 weeks. On date 3 with Alex, a long pause arrived. Instead of clowning to fill it, she returned to breath, let her eyes rest on a glass, and named softly, I want to rush this silence because I'm afraid of being judged. I'm going to slow down. Her face warmed. Alex smiled. I'm tense too. I'm scared I'll speak too fast. Their tempo eased. No fireworks that night. The next morning she wrote, I don't feel more interesting. I feel more real. A month later, when Alex missed a plan without notice, Mara texted, this doesn't work for me. I'm stopping here. He apologized, proposed a fix, and they continued. Not a fairy tale, just climate tended. If this stirs hard memories, pause and breathe. Reach for professional support if needed. Stillness isn't gritting your teeth, it's caring for yourself enough not to turn to stone inside. To make stillness a habit, set 3 daily chimes. Morning before your phone, 60 seconds of 4-6 breath, plus an intent. Today I'll speak less and clearly. Midday look far name, 3 shades. Write 1 true feeling line. Night note 33, dream images, and a brief thank you to the unconscious. These don't turn your life into a monastery. They just return the house to its home rhythm so your heart isn't chasing sirens all day. From here, the last door opens naturally. When you've become a place where stillness can live, the finale isn't fireworks. It's a quiet vow to stand on your own side and love from wholeness, not lack. In the conclusion, we'll weave the final threads, a 2-minute inner vow ritual, and a clear call to action you can do tonight. Hand to heart, 1 more breath. We're about to close the circle. If this spoke to you, drop it to join the circle and stay 1 more beat for the closing chapter. When you complete a circle, you don't return to the same spot. You come back at a different altitude. You've opened the attic, crossed 3 thresholds, learned to sit in the chair at the center, and let your inner climate change seasons. So the ending isn't fireworks. It's a small, quiet vow. I stand on my own side and I let love arrive as a consequence, not a reward. Jung would smile when the self speaks, you don't have to perform, you only have to be here. A 2-minute inner betrothal. Sit upright, feet on the floor, left hand on your heart, yin right hand on your belly yang. Close your eyes. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6, 10 rounds. Picture a simple circle drawn around you. A thin mandala like a wisp of smoke. Whisper 3 lines. No one is exiled. I speak less and clearly. I protect the truth with kindness. Open your eyes and choose 1 tiny act for today. 1 honest sentence, 1 gentle boundary, 1 silence. You don't rush to rescue. From seeds like these, roots grow. From roots, seasons come. If this journey touched you, leave and finish this in the comments. In the next 24 hours, I'll stand on my own side with the line, had 1 recent dream. Image, 3 keywords are enough. We'll read, hold the space, and learn together, no judgment. If you want weekly practice, subscribe and tap the bell, not to chase numbers, but to call you back to your home rhythm, a small chime in a noisy street. Carry 1 sentence that holds it all. I don't beg for love. I become a place where love can live. When urgency rises, use it like a passcode. Breathe, slow down, name the feeling, and choose the kindest action toward yourself. No perfection required, only tender honesty. Before you go, pause for 1 more beat. Left hand on heart, right hand on belly. Inhale. Hail. You are not a half waiting to be matched. You are a circle. And that circle has room for love when love is ready to arrive the way climate arrives to a season.